Okay, our first video we were talking about groundwork, and of course you have to do it on both sides. It's so important in your groundwork to not just get the horse to back up, but that he lifts his chest or his shoulders, takes his weight back, and backs up from the hind feet, because number one, you're strengthening the hind legs, so if your horse doesn't stop good, does he have the strength to stop with you sitting on him? For most horses on the groundwork and under saddle, you're going to have to make them back a little more on the right side than the left for most horses. But all horses, every horse that comes for training, it's just what horses are, they will push with one hind foot and support with the other. In other words, he'll put weight on his left hind foot and push off with his right, but he does not want to put weight on his right hind foot and push off with his left. That's why your horses turn better in one direction and bend better in one direction than the other. But if you don't change this a little bit, that means, if that's the case, if you ask him to stop and he becomes energized and he's going down the trail, he's going to run through your right rein. So if you want your horse to stop better, you have to get them so they're bending their joints, their stifle, their hock on both hind legs, so they aren't pushing into one rein. If he's running through his right rein, and all horses that run away, they only run away on one rein. You've got to make him able to take weight onto his right hind leg and be able to stop himself with it. If you don't understand, that's all right. I wish you would come to a 3-day clinic. We can make you feel these things. And if you feel them, then it's easier to teach it. But under saddle, when we teach this horse to back, we must teach him to back correctly. Lifting his weight, rounding his back, head goes down. If the head goes up when he backs, he throws himself on his chest, and he's going to have a terrible stop. So we want him to lift his withers, which telescopes the top of his neck, and his ears usually will go forward and down. If his ears go up, you're going to have a bad stop. All right, so the things that you could do at home, you need someone on the ground that a little bit knows horses. We're going to act as if this horse doesn't know how to back. And of course she does. So I'm going to take my whip like we did on the ground, and I am not going to hit her or tap her to make her back up. Jennifer's going to ask her to back. I'm going to tap up and ask this horse to lift the chest. So I'm just using the tip of my whip to touch the body part that we want the horse to be conscious of. So we want the horse to understand when he backs up, he must lift his chest and take his weight back. Also, when Jennifer backs, in the beginning, when the horse doesn't understand, her hands never go back and she never leans back with her shoulders, because then she's going to pull on the tongue. If she pulls on his tongue, he's going to lock his jaw and lock his chest and spine up. So we want him to unlock his jaw, get soft, be very flexible in the pole. So in the beginning, she might lift her hands a little bit because she wants to take the bit up toward the corner of the mouth, toward the TMJ, so the horse doesn't worry about having his tongue pulled on. She's going to kind of grow tall, and her seat's going to ask the horse to back. But while she's asking him to back, I'm going to touch and say, lift your chest. And you'll see the horse's head will go down and the back gets very round. So it's not about backing up. We're not going to reward the horse for backing up. We're going to reward him when he lifts the chest. So once she doesn't need me to do it anymore, in the beginning when she's teaching this horse to back, she might not even back up or take a step. If this horse lifts the chest and rocks her weight back like that, we're going to reward that for 2 or 3 or 4 days. If we can teach this horse how to get in the correct posture to back up or stop, it can back up and stop. But if we only work on the back up and we pull on the mouth and he falls on his shoulders, he might back up, but now he's in a terrible posture to stop. So while we get our back up, we've destroyed our stop. All right, so ask her to back up. And we want to see her lift her chest. Her front feet should get closer and closer to her hind feet. So she should almost step on her hind feet with her front feet when she gets very round the back. If you do this and your young horse is stuck, like locks up and doesn't go back, well, you should get on the ground and do it again from the ground. But one thing that we would do, we never want the horse to put his nose in the center of his chest if he's having trouble, because he will lock up. So Jennifer will offset the head to one side. Let's do it this way. So she's going to kind of hold this rein, her outside rein, massage her inside rein, and ask him with his, so he's a little bit bent. So now it's easier for him to figure it out. And she could walk down the trail 100 feet, tip his nose to his right shoulder. Now she closes the fingers on her outside rein, massages the inside rein. It's much easier for a horse to learn to back if we don't put his nose in the center of his chest, because it's too easy for him to brace or lock up when he does that. So if Jennifer was having trouble, since I was on the ground and I touched his chest to lift it, she could take her whip from the saddle and and rhythmically touch his chest and ask her to back up. But when the horse backs up, and when you start, don't ever ask him to back up that far. This horse has done this 1,000 times. Reward them as soon as they rock their weight back and take a step. Once they're backing up really well, then we want them to get deeper, more around, use the hind end more. So if we want him to use the hind end more, we have to bring his brain to the hind end. So put your whip over here so they can see it. So she's going to lift the reins, give that seat aid to back up, and tap him on the hind end. And see, when she taps him, that's good. He gets rounder and uses his hind end even more. She's brought his attention to the hind legs. So now he should get right, all right, and come forward. So when you first do this, when you tap the horse on the rear end, the first time the ears fly up, he gets very braced in his back. You keep tapping softly and keep backing with your seat. And once you feel him release his back, and you will see it, you pay him for turning loose of the brace, not for backing. And she isn't going to brace, is she? All right, ask her to back with the whip. So we ask her to back, touch with the whip. The ears might go up, she braces, but when she really turns the brace loose and gets soft, pay them, because that's when they'll have the best stop. Pay the horse for getting rid of the brace that would push on your hand. Don't pay him for the backup. Okay, one thing Jennifer could do when she's trail riding, we want to do lots of transitions, which we'll get into in the next video. She could go down the trail and give your horse the aids to halt. For Jennifer, that's close your fingers, ride your horse to a halt. She actively rides her horse, so when she halts, she stops riding. She doesn't lean back or sit down, or if she leans back and sits down, she mashes her horse's back down. Now he can't stop as good on the hind end. Aids to go, give hands, calves on, And all this is on the video, and we teach it as give the horse the aids to stop. Give the horse the aids to back up, lifting the chest. Give the horse the aids to go. Give the horse the aids to stop. Aids to go. Aids to stop. Aids to back up. Aids to go. Aids to stop. Aids to back up. Aids to go. Aids to stop. So on a young horse, that might be the trail ride for 5 minutes. And so he is learning what she does when she wants him to stop, what she does when she wants him to go, and what she does. We're not teaching the horse to stop, back up, or go. We're teaching the horse how we ask him to do things so that he can prepare himself to do it. Another thing that she can do when he gets very good at this, can you ask your horse to go forward? And from going forward, can you change it to the aids to back up and back up without a complete stop? Can you go forward without a complete stop? Can you back up from going forward without a complete stop? Can you go forward, back up without coming to a complete stop? Go forward, go back, halt. So if he can follow her seat that good and he learns that, stop is going to be very easy. One thing that is very, very important in teaching the horses to stop, your hands have to work very slow. What we see with too many people, I don't know if you can see this line in the sand. If I draw a line in the sand, most riders will wait till they get to this line, say whoa, and pull on the horse's mouth all at the same time. So he's not able to prepare himself to stop, and you just bang him in his mouth. I hope you've learned about inertia, where an 900-pound animal can't stop in one step. You can't do it either. So if Jennifer wants to stop at this spot, she has to start preparing him here by closing her fingers, maybe saying whoa, stop riding, and she has to ride him to a stop here. When you drive your car, you don't ride up to the stop sign and slam on the brakes. You start touching the brake half a block before you get to the stop sign and slowly bring your car to a stop. You have to do that for the horse. You have to quit being inconsiderate of the horse and slamming on the brakes. So Jennifer, just walk around, and I don't know if they can see this on the video, but this is just the distance. She's going to start asking her horse here to stop so that it can stop there. And of course, the more speed she adds, the greater the distance she has to allow for the horse to be able to prepare himself. It's so important that you allow your horse to prepare himself to do these things. And if you don't communicate that you're going to stop, he can't prepare himself and stop himself. So she gradually slows down. Of course, this horse is pretty advanced, so he stops very good. So we want to teach you things that you can do. One thing that would be really good, we'll take the horse over to the fence. Once you get your horse backing up really well, you could use the fence to teach him to take his weight back, and we're going to turn. So if you've never done this, I'm using a flag so you can see what I'm doing. I get someone on the ground, and usually when we have a horse we're breaking or something, we do this together. Jennifer will never pull on the horse's mouth. If she pulls on the horse's mouth, she ruins their stop because she's teaching the horse not to stop on a field. All right, so we're going to ask this horse to lift his chest and now take his weight back and roll over the hocks. So you could get someone to help you do that, like I just helped her, but once you've done it some, then you do it by yourself. But it is so important not to pull on the horse. Take the weight back. Now she can't pull on the horse to take the shoulders around, or he just learns to defend himself. All right, bring him up here and show him what happens when you use his mouth to turn him. See, now he doesn't come through with his shoulders. He ends up walking his rear end around. So now he's on his forehand. So we want this to be light. So these are all things that you could do in the beginning to get your horse to have a better stop. But everything that you do has to be, you have to add speed to it as you teach. If you only teach your horse to do stop and slow down at slow speeds, then when you go trail riding and he becomes energized, you won't be able to stop him. So can you take him around and at speed ask him to stop and roll back without using his mouth? And gradually over time, we keep increasing the speed. See him go back to the hind end, bring himself through. So it's a way that with speed, we can start teaching this horse to allow us to slow him down and stop him where he doesn't push on the hand. All right, very good. So these are just some ideas. Everything you do to make your horse lighter and softer in the bridle, and you lighter and softer in the bridle, makes your horse stop better. The more you pull on his tongue, the harder he's going to be to stop. So our next video, we'll add some speed to it. That's it. Very good.